Our topic today is the dark history of the island of Poveglia. Bring a cup of tea or your favorite drink and let's get started. The island has a long history of suffering and bereavement death. It is an island like other Italian islands with bright green trees and surrounded by clear water on all sides. But sorry, it is not for tourism and entertainment. It is an island, Poveglia, notorious and also called the Island of Black Death. Located on the Italian coast near the city of Venice, it is a small island whose area does not exceed 1 kilometer. The name of the island was first mentioned in 421 AD when some residents of Italian cities sought refuge in it to escape the attacks of the enemies. Since then, the human presence on the island has expanded and its importance has grown significantly and become teeming with life. And many churches were built in the 12th century, and one of these ancient churches is still standing until now. In 1379, the island was attacked by Genoese fleets, prompting the inhabitants to leave it, and the island remained deserted for centuries. In 1777, the authorities decided to use the island as a mental health and quarantine facility, and in 1793 the Black Plague swept Europe by merchant ships, and the disease claimed millions of lives. Under the pandemic, authorities were forced to use the island as a major cemetery for the plague dead, and the island's mental hospital was turned into a quarantine place for those infected. In fact, the treatment trip on the island was a one-way trip, as the documents were recorded. More than 160,000 people died on this island throughout its known history, and it is said that their souls still roam the island until now. From this painful history of the island, hadiths appeared and spread that the island is inhabited by ghosts and spirits, despite its continued role as a place of quarantine until it was permanently closed in the year 1814 AD. During that period, Napoleon Bonaparte arrived and turned it into a weapons store. During the wars he fought. Again, the island remained deserted for a period of time until 1922 AD and decided. Italian authorities turned the buildings into a mental hospital. Patients complained of seeing ghosts chasing them and hearing screaming and moaning, which doctors thought was a kind of hallucination. There are also stories of atrocities committed in a mental hospital by doctors. It is said that there was a doctor who was more like a butcher or executioner than a doctor, and who performed sadistic torture of patients. And the island has already witnessed some crazy experiments on patients to end up in mass graves with plague patients who died previously. And legends say that this cruel doctor lost his senses in the end and was struck by madness. So he threw himself from the top of the church tower. And fishermen in the region say that the ghost of the doctor he walks around the block every night. The hospital closed in 1968, and none of the local residents dared to approach this island again, and it remained deserted along with its dreary, frightening buildings. Many spiritualists and ghost hunters visited the island to document the strange events taking place on its soil mixed with the bones of plague victims and mental hospital patients. There are many programs that dealt with the island and its history fraught with death and misery. In 2014, the Italian authorities offered the island for rent for a period of 99 years, and it contains a historical castle, a mental hospital, and an abandoned church, provided that a luxury hotel and entertainment facilities are built that brings development and economic benefits to the country. But the offers submitted were few, and the island is still offered for rent to this day. In the end, Poveglia-Island is one of the most dangerous islands in the world, because it has the spirit of 160,000 people inhabiting Ghost Island. After knowing the history of Black Death Island and its Ghost Island location, as well as the legends of Plague Island, the decision is in your hand now. If you are an adventure lover and want to see and discover it for yourself, be careful. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget subscribe.